has been a shocking day here at the Overwatch World Cup where just when you think, we can predict these brackets, no, you can't. Russia upsetting Canada earlier in the day. South Korea being upset by France. The craziness just continues.
And remember, USA 3-0'd France and set a record time on Numbani. American sounds increasing. American sounds increasing.
No, I've had too much hype for
100%.
Team USA before. I can't.
We have to. We have to.
I have gone on record saying Team USA, they're going to win it this year. And every time I do, I jinx them.
And 100% we need to also go into the game because we have Russia, China coming up. Russia just coming off a close loss versus Denmark. Both teams going to be rolling out here to mid. See Jinmu taking this high ground very early. Going to be looking to drop down onto the back line. Tonic already hacked though because Eileen's on that Sombra.
Jinmu in danger, super low HP, same for Shelburne on the other side. Both Dooms going in, both Dooms getting out. Hack though, onto Tonic. China will see if they can get any form of fall through on it. And right now, both teams struggling, but both getting healed up in the nick of time. And look at Shelburne, so low again, able to get out. Jinmu dives in, holds back. Tonic looking low, Jinmu charging up. It's not enough to fish, Zenlayer gets down Gushue.
Gushue already down. Jinmu cleaned up by in there as well. And though, despite Chao going down, China, they have no front line. They don't have any of that pick potential without Jinmu. Their damage is low because they only have Eileen up as one of the DPS. They need to back out. And Russia winning the first fight versus China. Gonna get the first flip.
That is wild. China looking to head back in. Now, the one thing about China, they're running the Sombra comp, so their first fight not so good. Their second fight should be significantly better.
Shadowburn gonna be punching in, not finding anyone. Tonic very low. Shadowburn hacked though by Eileen. Caught. Going a little too deep and getting punished by that Sombra. China trying to find Shadowburn with Eileen.
Jinmu on the way down. Jinmu getting quite low, but Tonic is down. And Jinmu's able to get out, so China bouncing right back.
And now, Russia gonna have to back out. They're gonna lose the flip. Trying to get a hold close to this choke. They have double tankle. They have the EMP as well. Eileen having a surprisingly effective Sombra right now. While generally versus the double shield, Sombra has trouble finding any of that value. EMP is gonna be up. Ing, he cannot be caught. Main cannot be caught. They need to be split from this EMP if they want to survive this next fight.
There's a very quick charge up here for Eileen. The EMP is ready, and there it goes. Let loose. Directed in the rush up, but look at that. Eng was ready. Drop the beat. Mitigating the worst of the EMP. China drops speed a little bit later in the fight, trying to keep momentum. Death Blossom in or for end layer. Completely shut down. And here comes Jinmu to finish the fight.
And such a good engage here for China. They're cleaning it up. The EMP used to force both supports to force all the cooldowns early, locked them in place, and then China just cleans them up with a late supercharger. China now going to be at 50%, building up towards that meteor strike. Russia, they're going to have to find some very good value with the supercharger. They need to put it in some spots where it can't be finished. But versus the Coalescence, versus the meteor strike of Jinmu, it's very easy to remove it from the field.
China's in a very good spot right now. And look at Jinmu like a hawk swooping on in. And that is fantastic from Jinmu. What a setup.
Jinmu playing this high ground, just waiting for the backline to pass him, waiting to just put someone into that wall. Another very quick fight for China. 70% on the board, meteor strike available. Eileen building that EMP so quickly in a double versus this double shield tank for Russia.
It should be possible. This is not possible. And yet here it is in front of our eyes. Sombra building quick ult charge in 2019.
And this is the last fight here for Russia. They need to win this fight to keep themselves in this round. Coming in, the supercharger, Coalescence available. Jinmu just gonna back up.
Punishes the tree. I mean, the tree got in his way. It's what all trees deserve.
And now China backing up towards the point. The EMP is available. Eng does not have beat. Russia, they need to play split. They have to be careful. This EMP is about to come out.
Jinmu over the top. Meteor strike on the way down. Chasing after the Reaper. The pressure is in and down goes Endlair. Completely dunked on by Jinmu. Good movement coming on in.
Jinmu gonna get 3 there. Gonna clean it up. The EMP was out. There was no support ult available for Russia. They'd already used the cooldowns. And China making this hack fist comp work. Despite somehow Eileen should be countered by all these shields, should be getting mitigated, but Eileen is not at all.
Eileen's just threading the needle right now. There's less opportunity when shields are on your way, and Eileen doesn't really quite care.
So China now going to be up 1 round here on Busan. Russia looking like they're put in there on the Symmetra, going to get that fast roll here once again. China looking like they want to stay with the staple that they just showed in that last round.
And frankly, given how well it worked, why would you change it up? The one thing I also have to give China credit for as well, Jinmu's setups on Doom, where Doom's not just a hero about execution, just planning. Figuring out where the other team's going to go and having a good engage plan all set up. Really nice stuff from Jinmu.
I mean, Jinmu is the Doomfist legend. I mean, we saw it in Overwatch League earlier this year. I think that we all expected Jinmu to come out with a very strong Doomfist, and we're seeing it here. Elsa is really the unproven person we haven't seen a lot of the Sigma at all from Elsa. Main, gonna get hacked early by Eileen. Once again, looking for those very crucial hacks. Not gonna be able to find anything from it, though.
Jinmu, wasting, or just holding back a little bit right now, not going in directly, and under heavy fire, 2 HP still around, lands a punch, almost survives.
And they're gonna clean up Jinmu. Very important there for the Reaper to be the one to deny a lot of that space for the Doom. The first cap gonna go away of Russia. They're winning this attrition war here because Jinmu was removed so early. Khan's gonna be hacked, but it doesn't matter. They have no damage CP. Without Jinmu, China can't win this long fight. It's only Eileen as their own main damage dealer.
Endler's just walking forward, and you're completely right. Eileen, as Sombra, is not gonna be able to do enough until EMP is out. So if Jinmu falls early, that is a easy win condition for Russia.
Eileen, though, does have 82% on the EMP this next fight. He might be able to get it before Aang even has the beat available. And even if Aang does get that beat, they need to play split. They need to make sure that they're not getting caught by it either way. China going to come back in here 30% up for Russia. Russia, I would like to see a very aggressive engage because while Eileen is on the Sombra, you can look to maybe roll over the front line.
Well, they opened the Colossus, but Shadowburn was forced back. Opportunity abound here for China. They deal with the Cole. They drop a Cole of their own, and now the EMP about ready. They open with the Flux. Flux before EMP. Jinmu already finds Xiao. They don't have to use the EMP. The fight already over.
This was a huge fight for China. Shadowburn missing that punch. They walk back in and use the Flux aggressively. Aang not wanting to commit the beat due to the fact that they have EMP for the following fight, but China was able to save both the EMP and the Meteor Strike and the Supercharger. Those are all 3 ults on its own that can turn a fight, but with the EMP in particular, now Aang is in that weird dance of, I have to wait for beat. I don't want to use it, but China's going to get as much space as they can, trying to use the EMP as a pressure tool against Russia.
It's not just about winning a fight, it's what did you use to win the fight. In that case, China used precious little. It puts them in such a good spot for the next fight. Now you look at Eileen here in the back, going for the hack, EMP still up, and he's just going to be rotating around, ready for Russia. And China, they opened the beat early, but Jinmu got caught. Now, you don't really want to use the EMP. You're down Jinmu. You're not going to have the fall through, even if you do.
There's a Supercharger investor for Russia as well. Good peel by Chao. It's so important when you watch Sigmas that they're hitting those accretion picks onto the Dooms, stopping the aggression, and you saw it right there where they hit Jinmu when he goes in deep. Aang watching out for Eileen and not letting him commit either, not letting him get the EMP out. Both those players, Chao and Aang, keeping Russia and denying China any of their advantages.
But the upside for China is that because they lost the fight so early off the early pickoff, they still have so many options on the next fight.
Now Russia, though, they still have that beat. Chao getting hacked, getting caught early, getting caught by this accretion.
China in such a good spot, 6 on 5. They don't have to worry about the enemy Sigma. Sure, the Cole's coming out at him, but they don't have to worry. Now Jinmu gets to work, gets the back, and finds Endlayer.
Endlayer down. China still peeking, still not wanting to commit their EMP. Aang holding the beat, not wanting to use it, knowing this EMP is up. China being so aggressive here. Aang so low, Shadowburn down. I think with the hack coming out, that should be the end of the fight. But already it's going to get to 99% potentially for Russia.
The good part for Russia is that they're in one fight territory. The bad part is that China's being immensely disciplined with their ult usage, and Eileen even gets a late stagger on the Chao.
The problem with China's strategy is that though they've gotten the reflip and they have the EMP and they're playing this dance with the beat, the reality is that they have less overall damage than Russia when they're playing this Sombra. Eileen needs to get more hacks or else they can't win those dry fights on their own. They can't win those ult neutral fights.
Well, might not need much in the way of hacks here. There's the Flux. Eileen waits, drops the EMP, and Eileen gets dropped in turn. Shadowburn from the sky. China still engaging. Jinmu still alive, 5 on 5, very winnable still for China. And Jinmu going to retreat for just a moment. China backing up 75%. Remember, if they lose the fight, they lose the round.
Gouche popping the Supercharger. Kyo also investing the Coalescence, but Russia just going to back up, going to stay alive. Main getting dangerously low. Now China going to have to back up from the resulting Coalescence from Main. They're waiting for Shadowburn to maybe isolate someone, get a pick.
Last attempt here from Russia. Tonic already down. Here comes Jinmu, super low. Shadowburn finishes him off. Still an opportunity, but Eileen deals with his counterpart. Now it has to be all Shadowburn, and Eileen simply not going to give the opportunity. Who can stop Eileen right now?
See Aang solo getting caught by Eileen as well. Eileen walking that Chao, just waiting for that kinetic grass to go away. Eileen getting 4, Eileen getting 5. And I have to say, China wins it, but I don't necessarily think it was off the back of the Sombra play. They did well with it, but the reality is that they were just taking very long extended fights. They were lucky that there was no way for Russia to actually finish a lot of them, and they were just playing the dance. It could have really gone either way.
Very much so. I think the insight there is that China got boomed to an extent by the fact that they lost a few early pickoffs where even though they were ahead on ult economy, they had to give fights up and go, well, we lost one early. We're not going to use ults. And it's smart play, but Russia got very, very close in that round.
It was extremely close. And I think that for them, what's so important is that you have to remember the fact that Sombra is kind of weak right now. Sombra's not really the most meta hero. You're relying a lot on some crucial hacks and getting around shields and building EMP as quickly as possible, but it's hard to build EMP. You have less damage than do Reaper, and you're easily mitigated. So the Sombra play was more of a result of just Jinmu and the rest of China being a lot more coordinated and Eileen building Miracle EMP very, very quickly than it was them being that good in the neutral game, because you saw Russia just take very long, extended fights and actually turn them when they really shouldn't have.
Well, China coming out strong and using a hero that we haven't seen a whole lot of today in the Overwatch World Cup. Can they keep the momentum up? We'll find out in a few moments. China quickly decimating Russia in map 1, and now we turn to Russia and go, can you bring it back for map 2? And again, an interesting play where they ran the Sombra, and General Wisdom says, hey, you're running Sombra, you're not going to build EMPs very quickly and double shield. And Eileen just kind of said, well, yeah, but I will.
But I will. Russia, China now, going to go on to our second map. It is hybrid, because remember, once again, 3 map sets today. No assaults. China going to be on this defense first. I see the Jinmu Rat coming out. And the Eileen Widow.
It's the old Jinmu special, and Junkrat goes all the way back in history here on King's Row. A hero that, back to the very beginning of the game, very powerful on point A defense.
And we've seen the synergy between Junkrat and Widow before multiple times. I mean, you have the Junk to pressure the front line to allow you to pick. You have 2 of those threats, the Junk and the Widow. You have the Mind wherever they're going to go for the dive. You have the Mines, you have the traps set up. So it is a very dual synergy DPS lineup between the two. Long range, short range, etc. Russia probably going to see this, and I think they can probably just keep their same comp. Reaper and Doom can still be very effective versus this.
And for China, it puts a lot of pressure on Eileen. How many heads can Eileen find here? If the Widow doesn't get contribution, it's very difficult for the Junkrat to carry all the rest of the slack. So you look towards Eileen to see if he can click the opportunities that Jinmu might make for him.
Shadowburn going back to spawn, might be swapping, getting the Mei actually. So they're probably going to be using this Mei to wall off a lot of the sight lines to allow Russia to get a lot closer, maybe even wall up to the high ground. Jinmu be playing in that right, going to be looking for the spam. You see Russia now going for this very aggressive rotation.
Russia moving in onto point. Chow getting awfully low to start things off. Healed right back up, and now 1 tick is already theirs. It's up to Eileen to find something quickly. Jinmu laying in the poke damage over the top. Eileen under heavy pressure. But look at Jinmu. The tire's already built up. They're down Gushwei. Does he have time? No, he does not. Main gonna finish off Jinmu, and Russia just powering in on the point A.
Russia played that expertly. They made sure to go for the rotation through the hotel side, through that left flank, come to the point directly. They played close to the high ground. They played where the lip was protecting them. And now, Russia hitting first very quickly. Denied Jinmu any of the chance to even get the tire, because once Jinmu got the tire, he had to drop to the point to contest it.
So China does here the slow Russia down just a bit. The swaps have already come out. But Russia working with positioning advantage, working with a momentum advantage. Next fight could be tough for China.
See, Shadowburn swapping, going to be hiding close. Hits the punch, going to back up, just a little bit of displacement. No kills there.
And they're diving in. Eileen wants a piece of Shadowburn and going to be shifting out immediately, but still a bit vulnerable. And Eileen gets stunned. Super low. Down goes Eileen, and that was way too aggressive of a dive.
Great accretion, great halt coming out from the tank line for Russia, who's been so consistent in there, finishing up these frags, just cleaning them up. And Russia, they're going to continue forward. Good setups here. Eileen, like you said, way too aggressive. Get caught to the backline, had to use the Shadow Step just to get out, or the Wraith Form just to get out.
And it doesn't last forever. It might feel like it, but it doesn't.
So now Russia bringing it in here. This is going to be the final fight for second, potentially. China, they need to stop the progress now, prevent the cap. It's ideal if they can stop them here, too, because it's a long way back to spawn for Russia. But it's going to be a big ult fight coming up.
Russia looking to keep the momentum going forward. 4 minutes left. And a lot of ults in reserve. Gushue going to open up here at the Supercharger to start things out. Coalescence following through. And they're getting pretty low. Having to shift out a little bit early. Shadowburn holding here in the back, looking for the punch. Takes on the Supercharger, not much else. And Russia trying to win the poke war. China, they were getting poked out heavily. They had to beat in response. You see Shadowburn going back even more. Endler, Death Blossom up, middle of the fight. Supercharger ready to go. Endler, what you going to do? Death Blossom in, over, gets Veltal down. The Blizzard from Jinmu. Freezing out Russia a bit, though, and it's the Blizzard that's turning the tide.
Jinmu, give me more! Jinmu, he's so good there. 2 different walls, blocking the flux damage, blocking the coalescence damage. Eileen, gonna drop 3, gonna get 4, actually, just to clean it up, making sure that that is done and doneer. Jinmu and Eileen keeping China in that fight. Jinmu mitigating the damage, getting the Blizzard to allow them to come out, and then Eileen cleaning it up.
What a comeback in the middle of the fight. China was looking very shaky. Endler had a great opportunity, but just so much happening from the walls in the Blizzard.
Russia now going to be moving in close to the Flux. They should know Evil Tool does not have beat. This Flux on its own could be all they need to win, and getting hit by the accretion. Going to stay alive, though. Going to back up. Shadowburn needs to make a play here. He needs to open it up for them early so they can set up this Flux.
And Eileen off the high ground, going to be eyeing the back line to start things out here. Elsa getting poked a little bit far down, and Shadowburn off the Meteor Strike finishes the job. China a little bit wounded. Eileen having to back on out. Russia full HP off the Coalescence, moving in. Vettel and Jinmu, down they go. That's going to be Russia on point B.
Russia recognizing their advantage there. Now going to keep moving forward. That's second going the way. A little less than 4 minutes left in the bank. Not blazingly fast, but very quick still. And China going to have to come up to response because the Shadowburn in their DPS duo has been deadly so far. They need to get more isolation, ZP. They need to get these Blizzards faster from Jinmu.
Jinmu's trying, but it can't all be on Jinmu. Eileen was looking for opportunities that simply did not come. And now China opening up the Supercharger. Russia, they want no part. They simply back out, and Shadowburn couldn't get away.
Gonna get caught there by Elsa. Good counter engage for China. Using the Supercharger and the Coalescence just to clean up. Now gonna be going towards spawn. Gonna be holding close. They might hold close to the doors here. I actually wouldn't be opposed to it. It's a very aggressive hold. They're going to find main with the halt, too. China chasing all the way there. Now going to back up, using that wall just to let them get out. Eng holding on to the beat. Going to need to keep that up because Jinmu now has that Blizzard. The Blizzard's available, but Elsa also has a Flux. These are 2 deadly ults now, and they can just use one of them to force the beat and the next to finish it out.
And China's going a little bit further back here, where they were a little bit deep and said, okay, that's enough. Now we're going to fight around the corner. This is where you can get some very, very juicy Blizzards. Russia eating quite a bit of poke damage on the way in. Shadowburn rotating around, looking for the flank. And this setup is taking a long time for Russia.
Russia waiting for their DPS to piece it up. There's the Cole, there's the halt. Now the Blizzard out.
Blizzard's out. And China waiting. The Blizzard slowing down Russia. Here comes a beat from Vettel. And Enlair down immediately as Eileen spins to the back.
Beautiful play there from China. Didn't even have to use their Flux either, but Eng held onto the beat the entire time. It's the dance of the support ult again. Eng was waiting for that Flux, so Elsa just never committed it, allowing Eileen to get set up, knowing the beat wasn't going to be dropped, doesn't need to be ready.
And remember, Russia was rolling up until this point, but it's this point-C defense from China that has been fantastic and turned the tide of the round.
Russia going to be moving back in here. There's the halt. No punch there to combo it with. China going to back up a little bit. Gushue approaching that Supercharger, but now China, I think they just want to play chicken again with Elsa's Flux. If they can, they might want to force the beat early. Nope, there's the Flux with the halt.
Opening with the Flux, and the beat comes out really early. Russia's going to take more damage than I think they would like here. Counter Flux on the way. Back the other way. Gushue eating a lot of damage, but Healed right back up. The Cole on him, but Elsa booped off. Down he goes. And with the man advantage, Russia ready to push it. They use the Cole, and China, they want no part. They're simply getting out of this fight.
China backing up as far as they can, but Eileen's still going to get caught there into the back line. China need to regroup. They don't want to get staggered any further. You see Gouche hiding close on that mini pack. They know he's there, but they can't really clean him up just yet. Gouche getting pressure. They need to keep him alive.
He's eating a lot of damage. He's dropped the supercharger just to try and give a little bit more room to make Russia respect the poke damage, but Gouche falls. Shadowburn finishes what the rest of his team starts. Diving over 2 for Shadowburn. Here comes Russia.
And Russia moving forward now, still cleaning it up. They've got the cart moving. China struggling to get out here. Jinmu will have the Blizzard. They get out in time, can throw it out. Even though about to get the beat. The Cole, there's a portal that's about to come up. There's a real chance for China to actually come back in here and recontest.
They drop the beat. China very much can recontest. Coalescence out in the back. But now Russia, they waited a Cole of their own. They're moving forward. Gouche getting a lot of poke damage. The Blizzard out from Jinmu. It's zoning, but hasn't done much else. Xiao gonna get frozen, but the support is there. Russia still at a full 6.
Look, you see Eileen, he's looking to go to the back. He shadow steps. They don't see him. They do see him now. Shadowburn, he has the scout. He's watching for him. He's going to wait to punch that Death Blossom when it comes out. No punch available. Eileen probably looking to go, but getting pressured.
It's not the opportunity. Only 100 HP wouldn't have been good, but when was the opportunity? You're down in the ground. Endlair finishes him off with the Blossom of Zone. And Russia finish out King's Row with 14 seconds remaining.
And despite a little bit of a hiccup there on last for Russia, they do manage to finish the map. China putting up a good defense there, burning off the majority of that massive timing they did have. And now China looking to go on offense themselves. Russia, I have to say, has been a very well-performing team, overperforming for what we thought of their previous World Cup appearances. And China, which seemed to be a powerhouse, struggling a bit against them.
And Russia, they've been playing tough all day long. And the first map, not so good for them, but definitely finding life in the early part of King's Row and finally breaking the defense at the end. However, for China, they bought a lot of time. The enemy offense only finishing 14 seconds left. That's usually an advantage to the defense.
Now Russia setting up here on the defense, looking like they want to play the Mei Reaper. Pretty consistent strategy for them. They've been finding a lot of success with it. Mei, very good for King's Row in general because you can lock off the approaches, you can lock off the chokes. Blizzard is such an AoE ult in a very small confined space of King's Row. China looking like they may get a little bit more esoteric, but I think this is just spawns. Never trust the spawns before the door opens.
Double sniper would be a little bit weird. Winston with Orisa would be even weirder. So we'll put a pin in it and expect some changes to come out. Meanwhile, Russia, this is about as standard gets.
China getting a little bit of scout there with Eileen on the Widow. Jinmu now going to be swapping to the Pharah, so they are going to the Spare Mercy with the Doom. They have some of the poke, but they're going to be waiting for the setups. Eileen going to go to the high ground. Jinmu going to look to set up there when Eileen and Gouche tries to get them off just to shoot them, just to concuss them. There's a concussive blast, actually blasting them off entirely.
Meanwhile, Eileen, scoping out the opposition, takes down Shadowburn with one well-placed punch. And that's a good trade for China.
With Shadowburn down, it's a lot easier. There's no walls to really stop the spam nearly as much or stop the approach. And in addition, China can take the fight to point. With Eileen on the Doom and no counter Doom from Russia, it means that they're a lot better at setting up their halt combos with looking for those instant one-hit kills.
Good movement from Eileen. Gets a little bit of damage, goes over to the high ground. And speaking of high ground, here comes Jinmu in over the top, and he's being aggressive. Cole, though, gonna be forcing Jinmu back. Meanwhile, Eileen took a bit of poke damage. China taking a moment to reset, but now they're looking for Tonic. Tonic getting very, very low, healed back up, and the danger has passed, but maybe not for long. Jinmu super low, getting healed back up. Eileen is down, but the barrage is ready, and I think China should perhaps wait just a moment.
They're not watching this flank at all. They saw Inlair come in from the left, just immediately remove Eileen. But they get the res, though. There's the barrage. Jinmu getting blocked by Chao's barrier.
They get Eng down, but I don't know if this has been entirely worth Russia. Gotta drop the supercharger. It's quite effective now. In the 4-4, China cannot fight this one-on-one. It was Veltel able to take down the charger as Shadowburn falls.
But they're still not watching this flank. Inlair, he's flanking here again. He's doing so much damage into this backline. They're still not watching that flank. Inlair will go down. Russia gonna need to regroup, but with the Coalescence, this might be it.
The Cole on the way in. Jinmu still in the skies, and Jinmu from above finishing off another 3. Make it 4.
And we've seen Jinmu's Pharah in the past. It's very nasty. But that was a long first fight. A long first fight. comparatively to what Russia did previously. China having a little bit of a struggle there to get the value they needed out of the barrage in particular. Chow continuing to show how good he is on the Sigma, putting the barriers where he needs them.
It's been very good protection, and I'm not surprised for China. If they stay on the Pharah much longer, at only 44%, it would have been an ideal opportunity to swap, but Jinmu's Pharah. It's top in class, and if anyone can make it work, it's Jinmu.
Yeah, it's true. Jinmu is very, very good. He's already maneuvered behind as well, but Russia seeing that they're all going to walk forward, they're going to try to take the fight directly to the China front line.
This is the age-old strat. Ignore the Pharah, move forward. However, Shadowburn falling to Eileen early. It's not enough. Eileen says, I'll protect the front line. They'll be fine. Russia doesn't leave without at least a few eliminations, but it's nowhere near enough.
Jinmu, though, he's getting healed on the cart, getting the pressure. And Russia, I like the concept. I like the idea. It's tested. It's battle-proven. But the reality is that the China just bowed back, played slow, and Jinmu continued that pressure into their back.
So China getting things moving now on point B. And Russia, they're well set up for the next defense.
Russia has the Blizzard. They have both DPS ults. They have both support ults. This is a very good situation here for Russia because they can control the cart through either of those positions. Jinmu needs to look for value with this barrage. Needs to find to catch someone unaware. There's the signal.
On the top. And oh, it gets a rock to the face. Russia protecting against the Flux, protecting against the Pharah. Jinmu trying to work from an awkward angle. The Blizzard is out. Russia, though, are they going to be able to get enough? They get Elsa, but that's only just one. Jinmu to the back. Barrage into Shadowburn. And Jinmu has a lot of room to work with here, looking for Lucio. Eng running for his life. And the pressure from China unrelenting. Jinmu's heading back on in, looking for a little bit more as China just floods into Russia.
And that barrage is exactly what China needed. It may not have been the biggest, it might not have been the flashiest, but it gets one kill and zones the rest of Russia from following up on Shadowburn's May ult, which was a pretty big Blizzard. China now going to be able to finish second with a good amount of time left in the bank. They have ults up. Russia have been struggling here for the first 2 points.
China getting more momentum. 4 minutes left. They could set a much quicker time than Russia did if they can keep this up, and they're staying on the Pharah.
50% already. Jinmu going to get hit with that accretion with the halt. We're going to stay alive. Russia looking to engage. There's that signal. They know there's no defensives for China.
They're going for the Flux. They slam them back on down. China, though, still in a good spot. Eileen, Meteor Strike, looking for Tonic, but Endler got to the back. Endler at 3. Eileen, you're a little bit too slow. You need to be a second faster.
Good read from Inlair, utilizing that mobility for Reaper, falling to the back line after the fight had broke down post-Signal, post-Flux. Inlair now swapping a Widow, saying, okay, we need to challenge the skies. We need to keep Jinmu from doing everything for free.
I think the Widow's a good swap here. This is one area in King's Row where the Widow can be quite good given these sight lines that you get on point C.
So Jinmu going to be peeking. China coming around the corner. Supercharger is going to be available. Supercharger Barrage. That is a pretty strong combo if they can get it in position.
Tonic opening up the Supercharger. Russia trying to do more of the poke battle. Gushui says, you know what, we're going to poke race round 2. No, Eileen dominated. Went for the teleport behind Endler, and he was having none of it. However, Jinmu deals with the Kryptonite, gets the back, drops a Barrage, gets 2 before cut down by Shadowburn.
This is still okay, though, for Russia. They're going to drop the Coalescence. Shadowburn has so much presence here on the cart as the May. They're denying the res for Evil Till. They don't want him to be able to res. Now the res coming out. Evil Till using
Blizzard
that
is up. Blizzard is down. Shadowburn going to freeze out the rest of this fight. China nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and it's getting awfully cold.
Shui frozen, and Shadowburn's presence here on the cart as May has kept them in the fight. It's been so important for this May to not be removed, for Shadowburn to be able to get the Blizzard and zone them completely.
Russia coming in with a very good defense here. 2 minutes left for China here on King's Row, and this is defensible now for Russia.
And look at the ult bank here for China. They don't have much to work with. It's got Flux, but Eng holding on to the beat means they're going to be okay. For Russia, they would be perfectly fine just engaging with their Flux first once the cooldowns are forced.
Well, they open the Flux. Both teams go into the sky, but it's Russia who comes out ahead. Jinmu got caught, nowhere to go, and Russia just bringing this over to spawn. But so, you know what? Maybe we don't need to go that far.
That's still a pretty good exchange for China when you look at the fact that, sure, they used Flux, but they traded beat and the opposing team's Flux for Russia as well. China now going to be able to build up that ult bank much faster. They did lose pretty quick as well. Inlayer's down.
Endler got caught. Endler is a little bit too deep. China on the power play. Jinmu falling through. It's China with 3 quick eliminations. And China now with the golden opportunity to finish with more time.
Everyone grouping here on the cart. Gushui coming up on the Supercharger. Both DPS ults about to be up for China. Look at Russia. They swapped Inlayer over to the Bastion. They're getting main on the Batiste. They want to bunker it up.
It's a surprise Bastion. We'll see if it works. They do have time to get set up here. Bastion setting up over to the right, going to be burning through the shield very quickly. Here comes Jinmu. Meteor Strike, where's he going to land? Shadowburn already down. Eileen is doing devastating damage on the other side.
And look at this split from Russia. It was a great engage from China.
Oh, no.
They finished with more time, but it was a split from Russia. The split from Russia was a disastrous split. They send people, it's Tonic and Tonic and Shadowburn out the other side. He's not there to support his team. And then Eileen and also Elsa just push the opposing side, completely wipe them, and then Russia can't even get the card in time.
However, even down 45 seconds, this is still very winnable for Russia. Think back to what we saw on the first set of point A's. China's offense took a long while to get through. Russia was lightning fast. If Russia can set the same speed, this is anyone's game.
Now both teams getting ready to roll out here. Russia looking like they want to play a very similar offense that we saw from them before, with the Mei, with the Reaper. In there, probably just going to be scouting with the Widow, then swapping off. China deciding this time no Rat. No Rat, no Widow. We're going to be sticking with Reaper Doom. It makes a lot of sense. It's been a comp they've been very accomplished on so far. They've also been doing very well with it historically, and it's also much more well-suited, I think, for King's Row in this particular meta.
Well, also, quite frankly, it didn't work the first time around, so you might as well try something different. Russia wasn't really phased by the Widow Junkrat defense, and now China just running what is the power meta comp of the moment.
Yushui and Elsa just playing a little footsie there on the stairs before coming up. Now going to get that shield set up on that high ground. Jinmu playing split. He's not going to be playing up on the high ground instead. They're looking for the halt punches. He's looking to control the flank to make sure that Russia can't cross easily. China, they've learned. They've adapted ZP. They said, okay, we're not going to let Russia just run to point this time. We're going to try to contest them a little bit harder at the choke, stop their rotation.
It's problematic for Russia. Remember, they don't have much time. Already down 38 seconds, just being zoned out by this poke from China.
Shadowburn going to swap back to the Doomfist now. Russia now entering around the statue. Coming around the far side. There's the halt, not finding anyone.
They're waiting for it. Jinmu in the back, sizing things up. The throw of the rock is down. Jinmu, golden opportunity to go in. Ends up hitting a few, has to back out. Took too much damage on entry. And the dance of the dooms continues. Jinmu ready for number 2, moving on in. Tonic goes down, assassinated.
Shadowburn tries to go to the back line, doesn't find anything. What a great play from Jinmu finding Tonic. Russia, there's 5 seconds left. They're getting staggered. Shadowburn finds another, but they only have 2 seconds. It's done.
They're going for the emergency assault. Tonic here in the Hammond, but can't even get to the point. China holding off Russia. And now the best that Russia can do is to go for the draw. That is their only chance of staying in the series and potentially taking this one away from China.
Minute 45 just for 1 tick. All they need, 1 tick ZP. And China now would have won the series because remember, it's a 3-map set once again. And then once they get that second map, that means China has won. Russia gonna have to bring something up big. Have to bring something out of the bag here, the bag of tricks.
It's worth noting that, think back to China's first attack. It wasn't quick. If China were to run with the same thing again, Russia very easily could hold for 2 minutes. But you look at China and Spawn, I don't think they're gonna be running with quite the same offense.
No, I highly doubt. I mean, they have the time to work it. They could spam the shield. They can look for the displacement if they wanted. They did have some success within their time limit, but I don't think China wants to play the same comp again. I think they'd rather much rather just play with the Reaper Doom. But you never know. China is just one of those countries that they'll just bring out some random stuff, and you're like, wow, this is a comp.
You know, sometimes you get a little bit of a spirit of Chengdu in you, and then you don't know what to expect.
Well, I mean, you have to remember that 3 of the players currently on the field, 4 of the players are Chengdu players.
Yes.
So it is not unexpected at all that you'd see some of those Chengdu compositions come out. Now China rolling out here on the offense. Jinmu probably swapping to the Doom. That's exactly what it is. So Doom Reaper versus the Mei Reaper. We need to watch the walls for Shadowburn. He needs to be looking to isolate to stop the push.
Meanwhile, Eileen already coming in with the rest of the team, looking for the flank to the backside, gets to the high ground, drops on down. Shadowburn in his sights, has to shift out, doesn't want to get frozen. China biding their time, taking a moment to reset, let the cooldowns come back up. Eileen, good to go, coming in from the other side, a nice flank, but while he's flanking, Tonk and Enlair devastate the front line.
Eileen going for those long rotations, not finding much in Russia. Whenever the Reaper is not visibly in their sight, that is when they're pushing. They're waiting for the wall, they're waiting for the accretions, they're trying to take advantage of that space while Eileen is flanking. Less than a minute left on the clock for China. They will have the coalescence available, but Shadowburn building that Blizzard at a pretty good rate.
This is very drawable for Russia right now. Shadowbird, 70%. Enlair going to the back. Jinmu poked heavily, has to get out. You see Enlair moving on in a good spot. Able to get some serious damage. Oh, taken down! Jinmu out of nowhere! Just throws him into the wall. China 6 on 5. And Jinmu just shut down Enlair and then some.
Jinmu opened up the fight. He removed the Reaper, and that means most of the damage is gone for Russia. Shadowrun's gone. They have no damage. They have no sustain. That's going to be China taking the map. China wins the series.
Enlair was so close to doing such enormous damage to China. We were on his point of view, and then we weren't. Jinmu saving China, and that's the series going to China.
So 2-0 up for China. That means the series is over, like we talked about. Russia can still play the map score. There's still one more map left, and map score, I'm going to reiterate again, I know you're getting tired of hearing it, it does matter. But China looking very good.
Yes.
A very scary World Cup for them. Russia putting up a good fight, but overall China just having that playmaking ability, that very consistent off tanks, there's very consistent supports. Very good work from China.
China also looking incredibly versatile to a degree that a lot of other teams in the Overwatch World Cup generally aren't. They are scary. We still have one more map to go as Russia does play for that map score. China up 2-0 over Russia, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't close. Kings Row coming down to the wire.
Jinmu, just sometimes injured from the top of the cage, just drops on down to the cage mats. It's like, it's over. I'm folding you in half like a lawn chair. We are moving on to our third map of the series. China has won the series. Remember, it's a 3-map set, so 1 more to go. Russia playing for map score here as we move on to Gibraltar.
An old friend I feel like I haven't seen for a while. Watch Point Gibraltar.
It has been a while, hasn't
Yeah.
it? And I mean, it makes sense with all the reveals. Like, we get to a very lore map right now. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's where Winston had a little bit of peanut butter. But more than anything else, it is one of the most dynamic maps in all of Overwatch.
And considering some of the power of sightlines here, and the power of high ground in particular, moving from first and second, I would not be surprised to see an Eileen or Inlair pull out a Widow.
Very likely, and Enlair right now looking to think about it, but sometimes you see him Widow right in the beginning, or also
Even
sometimes
better.
not at all.
Even better. Sometimes you just bring out the Bastion. So Russia looking like they want to try to play this bunker setup, swapping main over to the Ana. They're going to have Shadow playing essentially offensive line, looking to run a little bit of interference. Block the damage as May.
Jinmu holding back on the setup. His has been so sneaky, so good. Goes for the Bastion, but not quite enough. Bastion well protected. Immortality field down. And Jinmu having to run for his life, getting chased down by the May.
Is able to get out though, has some sneaky maneuvering main. Up on the high ground, getting a lot of value right now. Russia looking to round this bin, looking to find someone. They need to get in there set up. That is their goal, just to get in there set up.
Jinmu getting away with 26 HP. Founade not helping him at all, but he's going back in. He wants seconds. He's thrown back. Meanwhile, Immortality Field has been taken down. Enlair starting to get to work. Takes down Elsa. And the support on Enlair quite good. China getting poked down. Gushui nowhere to go. And Enlair off on a ride.
He just got slingshotted off the map. Jinmu gonna drop the meteor strike. Eileen, Jinmu just wreaking havoc right now. Russia managed to get around the bin, managed to get Enlair up along with the Amp Matrix, but Jinmu and Eileen just falling on top of them like boulders.
Now, in terms of respawns, China will have to wait a little bit. They'll give up a little bit more cart push here to Russia, but a good amount of time has been burnt off.
Next fight, Supercharger and the Nano Boost going to be available for Russia. Likely going to be invested onto Inlair, make him very tanky, give him just instant death ray in terms of damage. China, not a lot in the bank for them. They invested the Coalescence, they invested the Meteor Strike. The closest result they have building up is maybe a Death Blossom, maybe the Beat.
The Supercharger is used very early in the fight, and it's not in time to save Enlair. Enlair just gets collapsed on, and that was sloppy from Russia. The Immortality Field was late, and without the Bastion, China is working at an enormous advantage.
Immortality Field was late, and there was no Nano Boost either. Main, who was watching behind, gonna be able to find Kyo, but this fight is still over. China walking forward, cleaning them up. Russia gonna have to reset here once again. Good news for Russia. They still will have Nano Boost. Well, actually, nope, they're not gonna have it all. They're swapping off. They said no more Protect the President. We're getting the Reaper. We're swapping up our backline entirely. And this means China is far ahead in ults.
And it's problematic for Russia because you take a look at the time, they're down to their final minute 45. They don't really have time to rebuild. This is where they need someone to have a big hero play, where they have to catch someone in already. They're going for the Flux. Eileen says no! 3 down. They did not look up.
Russia running in there, dropping the Flux, hoping to remove them, but Ibuto had the beat ready. Eileen was waiting, just waiting for the Supercharger to come out in a great position. No scouting, no prevention at all. They're not removing those cooldowns. China winning that fight fast, getting close to a minute left on the board for Russia, and they still do not have much in the bank.
China in a very good spot. So long as they play around the Blizzard, a first point hold could be upon us. Jinmu wrapping around. This is a nice approach angle, going in for Lucio, not gonna let him get away, and Aang is just assassinated.
Jinmu now, his job done, feasting. He's gonna come back up onto the high ground. Gonna look like a commit here once again. There's the Blizzard from Shadowrun, finding Elsa, finding Eileen.
It's a really nice Blizzard. It gives Russia more hope in this fight, even down the Lucio, but the Lucio is back. They're up to full strength. China in a tough spot. They have a Flux, but they don't have the personnel to back it up.
The Flux not gonna be able to find anyone. The Coalescence from main forcing China back, but China, they manage to get out. They don't get staggered at all. They're all alive. Who's in the back? Jinmu.
Reaper v Reaper, here we go. Turn the corner, peekaboo. And Enlair says, you know what, you win this one. Meanwhile, Flux in from China. Enlair could not get away. Yveltal chased him on down, and he's going for more. Takes down Shadowburn, bloodthirsty and more.
Yveltal just following up that damage. They get rid of the Supercharger. Yveltal, he says, please, more frags for me. Now they've won the recontest. 10 seconds left. This is it for Russia. They're getting first help. They're not getting first. China, a brutal defense.
What an incredible play coming out from the supports of China. And Russia, they might be trying to come in and delay, but very little is likely to come out of this. Gibraltar, it's a great map, but it appears we're only going to be seeing point A.
Russia just not able to get any value out of that Bastion strat. Spent nearly half their initial time bank just getting around the corner, making the full swaps in the end, but then they're in the ult hole. They had to dig themselves out, and they were so far behind in the ult economy.
And the problem is, too, is that how Jinmu was setting up fights was phenomenal. The amount of times that Jinmu would just have a sixth sense of when he can wrap around, dive in, eliminate one person, get out. It was so hard for Russia to deal with that.
Now, hope is not lost for Russia in terms of winning this map. They still can have the fuller hold. You've heard of full house. You've heard of fuller house. I think that's a thing, right?
I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay,
no.
maybe not. But now you've heard of full hold, but you're definitely going to hear a fuller hold because it is possible. Russia can bring up an incredible defense, but it's tough.
What it does mean is that we're not going beyond another 4 minutes for this Gibraltar. This is going to be done quickly, one way or another. Either Russia is able to have a fantastic hold, or China simply speed runs it. Either way, this one's going to be done soon.
Russia looking like they'd rather be able to place more of a bunker setup, put main onto the Batiste and inlayer back to the Bastion. Shadowburn getting onto his signature hero, the Pharah. Going to be busting this out, going to be pocketed by Eng. They're hoping they can control the skies and keep the pressure off of inlayer.
Might be a signature hero, but you put Shadowburn up against Jinmu, and I'm not sure I'm feeling that Shadowburn takes that one.
All I know is we're going to see some nice dogfights here. Some very nice dogfights in the sky. Pharah v Pharah, duking it out. China now deciding they want to play a very similar strat. It is the mirror strat for both these teams. See Jinmu just going to be launching some rockets towards Shadowburn. Both teams trading them out.
Even so far, both Pharahs eating a rocket each. The Mercy there to heal things up, and it's rare for a Pharah to win the duel from this distance, but now they're getting up close and personal, and the real fight begins.
Neither Pharah wanting to commit around the corner. You see the concussive blast come out again. Eileen able to find Tonic. He got pooped off the high ground.
And this is quite bad for Russia. Shadowburn now working without a team. He's running for his life, and Jinmu starting to chase down. Meanwhile, Eileen on the ground. Eng gets caught. And Shadowburn, there's no more lifeline. There's no more health. And China, one fight away from putting this one down.
That is a fast fight, too, and Kyo has advantage of this Ant Matrix. China going to be setting up on the high ground. They're going to put Eileen next to Kyo, and this Ant Matrix is going to come out. How is Russia going to be able to mitigate this damage at all? It's going to be on Shadowburn. Shadowburn has a wall. It's hopefully the wall can stop this Ant Matrix. It's going to be max value.
This is going to be so difficult. The Ant Matrix about to set the tone of the fight. Jinmu in over the top. The damage roaring on in. And Russia, they're able to get Yveltal down early, and that helps.
It was a beautiful wall as well from Shadowburn. Russia doing everything right to recontest here. They drop the wall to block the Ant Matrix, to block the damage. They move over here to the left side towards the mini, keeping out of sight of Eileen. Jinmu coming in.
Oh, and Jinmu lays down two. China on their way. Jinmu might be down, but that is a worthy fight. Eileen piling on the tank in the front. And China going to be finishing off Russia 3-0.
It was a valiant effort by Russia, but China just too strong overall. They had a great offense, a great series. Eileen and Jinmu just coming alive there.
Coming into the tournament, if you had to ask us what the top three teams would be, in order, we've said South Korea, USA, China. And China right now is living up to the billing, even as South Korea has been struggling on the other end of the bracket.
I think that it's sort of a reversal of fates almost. We see the rise of the lads, and we see the fall of Korea.
Yes.
It's a wonderful sight for many in the UK, but honestly, it is an incredibly interesting and refreshing World Cup. When you think about all these historical powerhouses have sort of fallen by the wayside, and we have a lot of newcomers, a lot of fresh faces. Canada struggling as well, Netherlands moving up. It is incredibly to see a lot of this fresh talent coming out.
No doubt about it, but there's still so much more left to go. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more Overwatch right at you.